it's a pleasure this evening to introduce to you, I think, someone who's not spoken in the city before. I'm a great admirer of her speaking, a doctor, a dentist, an accomplished Bharatnatyam dancer, and one of the foremost speakers of the Indian National Congress. The tragedy being that Indian National Congress was called to be the perpetrator of the federal flaws till about a few years back, and now finds itself in the receiving end many a times. So I think speaking in Kolkata for the first time, Shama Mohamed. Shama, floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, Calcutta. First time here for me. Thank you so much, Kunalji, for inviting me. And lovely to be in Kolkata after many, many years. I can't tell you my story, why I was in Kolkata before. That's a long story, anyway, many years ago. I'm going to start on this particular topic. It's my first time here. I didn't know exactly what the setup is. But I'm going to go on into certain things on, yes, victim. For me, after 2014, there are many victims, and it's about suppression of our federalism. India is a union of states, we all know that, and cooperative federalism is what we want, and that is what a particular man wanted before 2014, but it's changed after that. Now, Swapanda, before he left, said, Bengal is a victim of itself, and I will ask him, after the next assembly elections, if the Bharatiya Janata Party comes to power, whether he will say the same thing, Bengal is a victim of itself. I will come back to you, Swapanda, on that. So, a couple of things which I want to bring about is, one, in many ways, what we are seeing is federalism being crushed. I'm going to take on general things. Yes, Mr. PKD Nambiar spoke on the left very much in detail. I too come from the same state as Mr. PKD Nambiar and from the same district called Kannur, where of course I've also undergone harassment from the left, and 34 years of the left rule has left Bengal without investments, without anything. Now when we get into what happened for me after 2014, is let's look at some of the things which have changed. One, the GST which has come about. Why did the states give up the GST? Because they were promised, they were given a word that they will be compensated. Now what has happened is, let's understand some statistics. West Bengal also gave up its right, but it gave up 51.8% of its revenue, whereas the central government gave 28.8%. But the same GST is divided equally between the state and the center. And when it came to compensation, the states literally had to beg. Bengal was begging the center, we need our money, we need our revenue, why aren't you giving it to us? This, at that point, I'm not talking about this year, I'm talking about the last 4 years. The center would say, we don't have the money right now, we'll give it to you later. You borrow it from the markets. The state said, why don't you borrow? Why should I borrow? It's not mine. So this sort of tutu meme went on. My question is, why not just give the states their revenue? Why should somebody try to be the big brother here? Isn't it part of you? Aren't we all Indians? Aren't we all the same? Why should you segregate or separate the other state? Then let us look into what happened to certain weapons called ED. Let's look into the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which comes under it, and also the NIA. Who got in the NIA? The UPA in 2008 after the 2611 as a counter-terrorism unit. But what happened to NIA in 2019? It was amended. NIA can just be used to any now above the police. CBI needs consent from the state. The government central government has to get a consent from the state. If the state says no, the CBI cannot come, then it cannot. But here in Bengal or in any other states, the NIA can come. We know certain people were investigated, the ED was sent to them in 2017. But when those people jumped to the present party at the center, why did the ED stop investigating? So that affects federalism. That also affects what is happening in the state. Corruption can be anywhere. It can be in my party, in their party, or anywhere. But my question today is, why is that you dip into the Ganga when you join a particular party and then the investigation stops? So that also affects. Bengal and other states have become victim to these sort of ED, PMLA, NIA. As I said, the NIA Act changed in 2019, exactly how the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, the ED, it can come to Bengal, to any other state, and question anybody for hours without your lawyer. So that, again, is a flaw here after 2000, which has affected this cooperative federalism. COVID, what happened during COVID? What is supposed to happen is states should have a word. What is going to happen? We had a lockdown in 4 hours. Was anything discussed with states? Was the Bengal chief minister spoken to? Or for that matter, the Maharashtra chief minister spoken to? Nobody. So that, again, we had a lockdown in 4 hours. How did that happen? Let's take I'm going to take the Chief Minister's Fund and something called the PM Cares. There, the CSR funds were given and a tax break was given to these organizations or companies. But at the same time, in the CM Fund, which the CM also wanted, for example, in West Bengal and other states, but no tax breaks given. Again, why is that? Why not treat everybody the same? If there's a tax break on a PM Care fund, why not a tax break on this Chief Minister's Fund? They're also doing the same thing, helping out COVID victims in the state. We need to function as one when it comes to these things. The other thing which is very important is, again, with Bengal, you also have farmers, and just like every other state, you had the farm laws. What happened? Was it discussed with anybody? Because I'm not looking into just one particular state now. I'm talking about how federalism is crushed after 2019. You had the farm laws, we all remember. Everybody, every minister of the particular central government said that we have discussed with each and everybody. It was discussed with the farmer unions. It was discussed with opposition, with everyone. RTI reply. What was the RTI reply? There was no discussion. No discussion has happened. So why was a farm law passed without any discussion with anyone? Is that cooperative federalism? We know agriculture is a state subject. Shouldn't that be discussed with the state or not? Isn't that against the state? So this sort of things then of course I will be questioned for it because I come from a particular party, but the governor, how are the governors used? You know what happened in West Bengal before the present governor became the vice president. Governor is there to ease things out. But again, governor, just like here, is also used as a weapon in my state, Kerala. So that has become now the governor, just like in West Bengal, in Kerala, is also being removed as the chancellor because everyday intrusion into various things. So what I'm trying to put over here is that it's not just Bengal. It's not about victimhood, but it is what has happened, how federalism is crushed after 2019 from various aspects we have seen and also, let me tell you one last point, funds to states. If the state does not behave well, maybe the Priyam Avas Yojana does not go to that state. I remember the Odisha CM saying that I sent a letter in 2019, 20, and 21 for 60,000 houses. Sorry, 6 lakh houses. I'm not able to get it. But then they said the portal was closed. For Karnataka, because the central government, same party was there, it was open. So my point today to them is that why this differentiation and why we cannot be one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Actually, the farm laws were introduced, I think, as an ordinance, as a part of the emergency legislation that came out as a part of the post-COVID package. The farm laws were included in the post-COVID set of ordinances that were initiated without discussion. Right, yes, absolutely correct. That agriculture remains to be a state subject. So Shama has outlined many telling examples as how repeatedly the center oversteps into the state domain, because separation of the central list, the state list, and the concurrent list should remain the basic grammar on which our federal constitution is based.
I'm just going to counter what was said. It was said that by, I'm not taking names, that Bengal has to be, there is development in Maharashtra, there is in Odisha, there is, I think Gujarat was the other state. My answer to them is 34, I'm from Kerala, 34 years of left rule, you can't have any development. You just can't have. In my own state, we have the left, then the Congress. Then again, the left is right now. You don't get private investments, but they go on what you call Gerao, Hartal, strike. So that is the answer for that. That is the reason that everything comes after 2011 when the present government came in, and not before that, because you had 34 years of left rule. Then I heard the same person saying that a lot of names are called at Modi ji. Modi ji in parliament called my former parliamentarian, a lady called Renuka Chaudhary, Surpanaka. Is that right? Yes, he did. Yes. Because she was laughing like that. Please, I saw it. You cannot deny it. Then called my own or yours, everybody's prime minister in parliament is wearing a raincoat under a shower. Please, is that justified? Then says the former prime minister of India, the former president of India, the former army general, General Kapoor, colluded with Pakistan to put Ahmed Patel, the chief minister of Gujarat. You accuse these sort of leaders of sedition? Is there a justification to that? So if you tell me about calling names, I can go on about names, which I am not. There are Jersey cows, there is Shehzada. Let me not get into all that. Then I think it was said about women getting raped. One of them said, women are getting raped in here, Dalits are getting raped. At least the CM takes action. Let's not talk about Unnao. Let's not talk about Hathras. Let's not talk about Khatua. I can go on about that, where action was not taken and where the dispensation, the leaders, the member of parliament, MLA, the chief minister stood with the rapist, not with the victim. So I can go on about that too. Then somebody said over here, brutal killers in this party, about the present party ruling this state. Didn't you, if you get those brutal, if you are saying that, the allegation, if you get those brutal killers in your party, if they jump ship, then they do not become brutal killers. They become your MPs, your MLAs, and you run the state. On that note, let me ask you about subversion of democracy after 2014. How many states? People give the mandate for one party, and who rules? I can talk about Maharashtra, I can talk about Madhya Pradesh, I can talk about non-present Goa before, Manipur, How many states there's been subversion of democracy, including Bihar? So there are subversion of democracy. The mandate is given to one, but of course MPs and MLAs are bought.
We have to wind up.
Okay, just last one. So what my point is, when I was just taking over what they said, that about what has happened, subversion of a democracy, and all those accusations on this present state, because development in a state ruled by the left for 34 years is definitely going to be slow and not fast. And like our side said, the fiscal, I think Dr. Kunal itself said, the fiscal deficit at 3.4 is a good one compared to many other states and compared to what the center's fiscal deficit at this point of time. Thank you very much.